What if the biggest difference between where you are right now and where you want to be isn't money? What if it's the way you think, the decisions you make every day, and the habits you repeat without even noticing? That's the central idea I took away from Millionaire Mindset and Habits for Success by M.A. Myers. And despite the title, this isn't only about becoming a millionaire. It's really about developing the mindset and everyday habits that can help you become more disciplined, focused, confident, and intentional about the life you're building. So in this video, I'm going to break down some of the biggest ideas from the book, what I think they mean in real life, and the lessons that are actually worth remembering. Let's get into it. 1. Success starts with your mindset. One of the biggest themes of the book is simple. Your mindset influences your actions, and your actions influence your results. Think about two people who are given exactly the same opportunity. One thinks, I probably can't do this. The other thinks, I don't know how to do this yet, but I can learn. Same opportunity, completely different response. And over 5 or 10 years, those tiny differences in thinking can lead to completely different lives. A success-oriented mindset doesn't mean believing that everything will magically work out. It means believing that you can learn, improve, adapt, and keep moving. Instead of asking, why can't I do this? You start asking, what do I need to learn to make this possible? That small shift is powerful because it moves you from feeling stuck to looking for solutions. 2. Your habits are building your future. Another major lesson is the importance of habits. We often imagine success as one huge breakthrough, the perfect business idea, the promotion, the investment that suddenly takes off, the moment everything changes. But most success doesn't look like that. It's usually much more boring. It's waking up and doing the work when you don't feel like it. It's reading, learning, saving, planning, practicing, taking care of your responsibilities, and repeating those behaviors for years. Think about it this way. Reading 10 pages today probably won't change your life. Saving a small amount of money this week probably won't make you wealthy. Working on a skill for 30 minutes today probably won't make you an expert. But do those things consistently for 5 years? Now the story looks very different. The lesson is, don't underestimate small actions just because the results aren't immediate. Your habits are quietly creating the person you are becoming. 3. Set clear goals. The book also emphasizes having clear goals. And this sounds obvious. Everyone says they want something. I want more money. I want a better career. I want to start a business. I want to be successful. But those aren't really goals, they're wishes. A real goal needs direction. Instead of, I want more money, it could become, I want to increase my income by developing a new skill over the next 12 months. Instead of, I want to start a business someday, it becomes, I will spend 3 hours every week developing my business idea. Now you have something you can actually act on. And that's an important difference. You don't need to know every step of your future. You just need enough clarity to know what your next step should be. 4. Discipline matters more than motivation. This was probably one of the most practical ideas for me. We love motivation. We watch a video. We read a book. We hear someone's success story. And suddenly we're ready to change our entire lives. Monday morning arrives. New routine. New goals. New person. Then Wednesday comes. We're tired. Life gets busy. And suddenly that motivation disappears. That's why successful people can't depend completely on motivation. They need discipline. Motivation says, I'll do it when I feel inspired. Discipline says, I said I was going to do it, so I'm doing it. And that doesn't mean becoming some kind of productivity robot. It simply means creating routines that make progress easier. Maybe you read for 20 minutes before bed. Maybe you work on your business every Saturday morning. Maybe you automatically save part of your income. Maybe you exercise at the same time every day. The less you have to negotiate with yourself, the easier consistency becomes. 5. Keep learning. Another idea that comes through strongly is continuous learning. People who grow don't assume they already know everything. They remain students. They read. They ask questions. They learn new skills. They listen to people who know more than they do. And perhaps most importantly, they change their approach when something isn't working. This matters even more today because the world changes incredibly quickly. A skill that was valuable 10 years ago may not be enough today. Industries change, technology changes, opportunities change. So, one of the best investments you can make isn't necessarily something you can buy, it's developing yourself. Because knowledge and skills can create opportunities that didn't exist for you before. 6. Failure is information. This is another mindset shift worth remembering. Most of us don't enjoy failing. We take it personally. We think, maybe I'm just not good enough. But failure can also be information. You tried something, it didn't work. Now you know something you didn't know before. Maybe your strategy was wrong. Maybe your timing was wrong. Maybe you weren't prepared enough. Maybe you need a completely different approach. The important question becomes, what can I learn from this? Successful people aren't necessarily people who never fail. Often, they're simply people who are willing to adjust and try again, and that's a much healthier definition of progress. 7. Be intentional with money. Of course, with a title like Millionaire Mindset, money is part of the conversation. But one of the useful principles here is that building wealth isn't just about earning more. It's also about what you do with what you earn. Someone can earn a large income and still constantly struggle financially. Another person may earn less but consistently save, invest, learn, and gradually build financial security. The bigger lesson is to become intentional with money. Know where it goes. Understand the difference between spending for today and building for tomorrow. Learn about money rather than avoiding the subject. And think long term. Because financial progress usually isn't created by one dramatic decision. It's created by hundreds of small decisions repeated over many years. 8. Your environment matters. Here's another interesting idea. Your environment influences you more than you probably realize. The people you spend time with, the conversations you listen to, the content you consume, the expectations around you. All of these things can slowly influence what you believe is possible. If everyone around you constantly says, that's impossible, don't take risks, people like us can't do that. Eventually, you may start believing it too. But if you're around people who are learning, creating, improving, and challenging themselves, that can influence you in the opposite direction. You don't need to abandon everyone who thinks differently from you, but you should pay attention to what you're repeatedly feeding your mind, because your mental environment matters too. 9. Take action before you feel ready. This may be one of the most important lessons in the entire book. You can read every success book ever written, watch hundreds of motivational videos, create beautiful plans, write down your goals, buy planners, make vision boards, and still change absolutely nothing. Because eventually, you have to act. And the uncomfortable truth is that you probably won't feel completely ready. Your first attempt might be terrible. Your first video might get 10 views. Your first business idea might fail. Your first application might get rejected. That's okay, because action gives you something planning never can. Feedback. You learn, you improve, you try again, and gradually you become better. The biggest lesson I took from this book, if I had to summarize Millionaire Mindset and Habits for Success in one idea, it would be this. Success is rarely one massive decision. It's the result of small decisions repeated consistently for a long time. How you think, how you spend your time, what you do with your money, what you learn, how you react when things go wrong, and whether you continue when the excitement disappears. None of these things looks particularly impressive on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon, but repeat them for years, and they can completely change the direction of your life. So, would I recommend this book? If you're already someone who reads a lot of books about habits, mindset, productivity, and personal finance, some of the ideas may feel familiar, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes we don't need another complicated theory. We need a reminder of the simple things we're still not doing consistently. For me, the value of this book isn't simply the idea of becoming a millionaire. It's the reminder that success is something you build, slowly, quietly, one habit at a time. And maybe that's the question worth asking yourself after reading a book like this. What is one small habit I could start today that my future self would thank me for? Not 10 habits, not a complete life transformation, just one. Because sometimes one small change, repeated long enough, becomes something much bigger. If you enjoyed this summary, subscribe because I'll be reviewing more books on mindset, habits, money, productivity, and building a better life. And I'll see you in the next one.